That's right. We're saying goodbye to the carport and saying hello to a garage. Now I want to apologize for that clickbaity thumbnail that I just put on this video. I'm sure that annoyed quite a few of you, but I think it was worth it. On today's episode, we are going to be moving my Mini out of my carport, and we are going to be getting it set up to start enclosing this space into a garage, finally, after 6 years. Now as a result, this means that videos on the channel are going to be delayed a little bit. Getting this enclosed is actually a pretty big undertaking. We are hiring a contractor because there is a little bit of structural work that has to get done in this garage space before the walls can go up. We're going to be demoing the back of this garage space, and I'm going to show you guys how everything's going to get laid out here shortly. But first off, we need to get my Mini out of this carport here so that it doesn't get damaged while we're working on the garage. So a good friend of mine is coming over to help me load this up on the trailer you guys see in front of me, and then that is going to stay in his garage for the next month or two while this work gets done. So let's get this up on the trailer, and then I'll see you guys at his house where we're going to be wedging this beautiful little Mini into a corner. All right, so now that we have the Mini out of the way, we need to get these kayaks down. They're gonna head into my backyard, and they're gonna live there for a little while. And funny story, when we finished in this room back here, it used to have access into my attic space. And well, I didn't really think this through, and I forgot to take some stuff out of the attic, and then we finished the ceiling in drywall. And there's no access to the attic right now. So there's a bunch of stuff that I have stored up there that is not accessible right now. With these kayaks out, I am going to break a small portion of the ceiling open in here so that I can get back in there. All of the ceiling is going to come down with this whole garage built anyway. So just want to make sure I can get that stuff out. Also, this part of the episode, we're going to be getting as much of this cleared out as possible, and then as much of the workroom itself, the stuff that's in there, into totes and into my storage unit. So let's get these kayaks down and then start opening up the ceiling. Very interesting. So back here, looks like I've actually got a good bit of stuff in here. We have a Volkswagen Golf GTI intake system, a box with a subwoofer ring inside it, a bubble balancer, some storage devices, my original over-the-wheel subwoofer container, that's seen better days, an assortment of bolts, some plastic covers, and a car carrier. Very, very peculiar, that's for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we have everything out of the attic now, and most of the stuff is out of the main carport area. Thankfully, the contractor has told me that a lot of the larger things, like my toolbox and the engine that is currently out of the car, and some of this other stuff can actually stay in here. I do need to cover it, make sure that it doesn't get dirty with all the construction. It's gonna have to get sealed. The engine actually has 3 plastic bags on it, and I've got that taped and shut so that it cannot get any sort of debris inside it. Granted, it is mostly closed, there's no open cavities, anything like that. Now, sadly, this is goodbye. It is goodbye to the workbench as you guys and I know it. This has served me incredibly well over the 7 or 8 years that Classic Mini DIY has been in existence, and it's finally time to say goodbye. With the new workspace, which I'm going to be showing you guys here in just a little bit, a lot of this is getting rearranged. Like, a lot of it. Basically all of it. Pegboards coming down, walls are getting insulated, lots and lots of changes coming over here. But as a result, we do need to get all of this down. And there's a lot of stuff up here. A lot of tools that I use every day. And my whole workbench here with this nice metal top, this is not going to be able to get reused just based on the size of the new workbench. Now, as I said at the beginning of this episode, this is going to mean that I am not going to have a ton of videos coming out for a little while, as I won't have a workspace to actually do those videos in. And all of these tools are going to be put away. So, sorry in advance for those of you who like the mini videos more. It's going to be almost all garage videos for at least the next month or so. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start taking this stuff down. We'll put it into the toolbox when we can. Otherwise, these parts and things are going to go into plastic totes, and they're going to get stored away and saved for unpackaging and moving into the new space. So, let's get to it. Well, that is certainly a different perspective. So we've got a lot of this stuff out now. It's even more echoey in here, which is pretty crazy. I had a ton of sound deadening stuff up in here, but I think I'll probably have to do it in the garage too when that's ready. All these walls are likely going to need to come out, unfortunately. We did put all of these up relatively recently. This is drywall or fiberboard. It's all kind of the same depending on where you are in the world. At least that's my understanding. This will need to come out because I am going to be insulating these walls with actual fiberglass insulation. So all of these walls that exist already are going to get fiberglass insulated. Now that's going to be it for today as far as demo goes. Let's hop over to the plans, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how this garage is going to look once we get it all done. All right, to get started, let's talk about what we have already. So right here is the front side of our house. And on the left side here is the carport where my Mini lives, and then the storage room, which you guys have seen lots of all over the years of Classic Mini DIY operating out of that room. Now, my workbench and everything lived on this wall, and then the storage space around it lived over here. Now, we're keeping the footprint of the house largely the same here so that we can kind of avoid doing too much structural work. But there are a few things that we wanted to think about while we're actually introducing this new space into our home. And that is where the new plans come in. Now this is where it might seem a little bit confusing, but stay with me here. Now, everything over from our fireplace, which is kind of the landmark that might help you guys find your way here on this new structural plan, everything on the right side of the fireplace is staying the same. We did entertain the idea of bumping out the front of our home a little bit, but we decided not to do that for right now. So, on the left side of the fireplace, you have the new garage space. And the way that this is going to work is pretty straightforward. We have a small breezeway in between the old storage room, which is right here, and the house itself. Now we are going to keep this breezeway because there's a window right above our kitchen right here, and we want to continue to have that light that comes in. It's nice, and this breezeway is going to be a nice little space to kind of maintain that light, and we don't have to do anything weird with that window. So a new door is going to be introduced right here. And then we're going to have walls around the left and front side of the house, extending and encasing that whole carport into a new garage space. Finally, we're going to remove the wall that has the existing doors and windows on it that goes into the workshop as it sits now. And then we'll have this brand new kind of L-shaped garage that is going to be kind of equivalent to an oversized single car garage. Now, one of the best things about this garage space is that the existing ceiling is so high up, it does afford me the ability to install a pretty large garage door, which is going to help with projects that are a little bit larger than the Mini in the future. So for the garage door we're installing, it's going to be a 10-foot wide, 8-foot tall garage door, and we're going to install that so it has a high lift mechanism to keep it as close to the ceiling of the new garage and give me as much headroom as possible. But aside from that, the inside of the space is going to be pretty much the same as it is now, just much, much bigger. My workbench and everything is going to live on the back side here, and we'll have this whole new enclosed working space. Now, before we wrap up this video, because there's not a lot of progress to show in the garage yet, I do want to show you a couple of renders that I had help from my patrons on. I am not especially good at Google SketchUp. However, I am good at placing things once the structure has been built. So a big shout out to the folks over on my Patreon who decided to help me out and save me a lot of headache trying to build out this render. Now, as far as the render goes, this is kind of an early rendition of it, but the idea is that I want to kind of maximize the amount of working space that I have, while also maintaining space for my wife to have her woodworking stuff and all of her tools in there easily accessible. Because this isn't just my workspace. I want to make sure that it is, an equitable workspace that we're working on here. And then in the back, I've got my engine stand, my toolbox, a rolling cart potentially that can kind of serve as a demonstration table. So I can have stuff in front of me while I'm recording instead of sitting on the workbench behind me. The pegboard and everything that's on the back wall, that's probably going to still remain. We're probably going to add a few more shelves in here, and then as you can see my kayaks, those are going to sit on the side wall that is new on the side of the garage. And then of course the breezeway with the door in it, a fireplace, and then some stuff is probably going to be living over on that side as well. The inside is going to be completely finished in the drywall, insulated, and I think we're going to paint it white just for a nice bright look, and then I am still trying to figure out what color the concrete's going to be. But there's a little sneak peek for you guys. All right, so that is going to wrap up this episode. Obviously, we did a little bit of prep today and got it ready for the actual work that's about to get done. So the next episode, hopefully, we'll have the siding off of the house. We'll have some of the framing maybe done. The actual process of the build is probably not going to get filmed a lot since I am having contractors helping me out with this. But I will try and keep you guys up to date as we go on. And then once the space is enclosed, there's definitely going to be a lot of videos of outfitting that space coming up. So stay tuned for those. And until I see you guys on the next episode, you know the drill. Enjoy those minis and motor on.